Hey guys, Mr. Souther coming at you with Unit 6, Lesson 2 about substrings. I want to show you a couple of slides today, and then we're going to get right to the coding. So first things first, if I can move along, okay? I'm going to have you do this in class as well, but we're going to ask Siri some questions and just see like how does it perform when you ask Siri a couple or a series of questions. So here's the deal. Maybe I'll ask Siri right now. Hey Siri, what do you do with an elephant in a rainy day?
Here's what I found.
So I asked the question to Siri, what do you do with elephants on a rainy day? Right? She doesn't have an idea, but she's gonna start searching for elephants and gives me suggestions about elephants in rainy day, searches for it, right? So I'm curious to see what you guys come out with because Siri is a program designed to hear the words that you're saying and then essentially spit back with some sort of reply. Well, the problem becomes when you have two different conflicting things coming in the same sentence, how does she anticipate how does she interpret what you're saying? Okay. Now you might be asking, Souther, what are you talking about with all this stuff? What's happening is when you use Siri, you're basically providing with your speech. So it does have code to convert your speech to text, right? So that's nothing new. It's going to take that text and it's going to do a search with it in her own database or on Google, let's say, right? So she's doing a search. Well, you might be asking, well, how are they doing that? You can actually use something called the substring method, and this is all in that God tier string class, to go ahead and retrieve some sort of substring of the string object. And I'll show you what that looks like too here. Okay. So the combination of index of and substring are going to be a pretty powerful duo to work with. So let's get started right here. First thing I got is we have the main thing I can try to annotate here, okay, is we need to know that there's this string substring, okay? This is the class called string, and this is the I'll put M for method called substring. It requires a parameter called int begin index. This is going to be some sort of number, right? It's going there. It's going to return a new string that is a substring of this string. So let me just show you how this works so you'll kind of see it. At least that's the way it will help for me. So if I run this thing, what is it showing here? It shows world. Where is that displaying? So remember, each one of these, right, is, whoops, sorry, I messed that up. Let me use my eraser. Each one of these words or letters, text, right, is in an index. So hello would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that space does count. That's also 5. What it does is shows me what comes after 5, and that's the whole world. Okay. So then I'm going to keep moving on to show you a couple other examples. So that was one input. Well, you can also use a different input. I'm trying to use the color. Let's call it red. Okay. In this case, when you have a situation where you have not one, but two parameters given or two arguments given, it'll do something magical. Instead of showing what comes after that index value, it's going to show just that point. So check this out. This is from index value 0 to index value 5. Right? So it's going to produce the word hello. And then now if I shift it from 2 to 7, right, you're going to get this weird like LL, if we can get to it, LLW. Right? So it's looking from index value 3 till 7. Okay. Or till 6, sorry. So that's kind of how this substring is going to work. If we keep moving along, and I'll turn on my little pointer here and then erase all the stuff that I wrote on here, so it's not a problem. In this case, we now have a situation where we're going to go ahead and produce, right, the value between 1 and 2. So 0, 1, 2. So it's going to be, whoops, 0, 1. So it's going to be E, right? And it's going to produce here from 6 to 7. So it's going to, so basically it's going to show just the index value of 6, which is the capital W there. Okay. Now, what if you want to do message? So if you know the message is hello world, again, we're going to use the message dot substring to call that method. And we're going to go from 0 to 5. There's hello world. Okay. So you might be thinking, what happened there? So if message says hello world, I cannot overwrite it. Okay. So we use the word immutable. You should add that in your notebook. And that basically the string cannot be changed after it is created. So that's kind of the whole point here. Okay. So again, the main thing is string methods do not change the original string object. So, all right, now I'm going to walk you through some coding and pause this guy. All right, now we're moving on to the actual coding part. So in Unit 6, we're going to learn about array lists and string methods. So, something familiar, but also something new. So we're going to talk about substrings. That's lesson 2. So let's go ahead and go here. We're skipping lesson 1, just so you know. And once I get here, let's go ahead and blow this up a bit. Okay, so we have this sentence, and this is kind of cool. You learn something new. I learned something called a pangram, which is a sentence that uses all the letters of the English alphabet. There's a lot going on here. The main thing to pay attention to is you'll see this new substring method, right? Which is going to identifies the text that comes up within whatever parameters. Let's go ahead and run this so you can see what's happening. Oh, for some reason I hit an error with the server. That's beautiful. Okay, well, we're gonna ignore the console, but what it's gonna show, let me refresh actually. That's a little odd. Okay, so did it run or no? Okay, something wrong with their server now. That's great. Let me just pause this for a second, restart. All right, so I keep hitting this error from their server, so I'm just going to move on and just start coding. Let's just make sure. Hopefully, it's not just a problem while I'm trying to run this wonderful thing. Oh, awesome. Okay. All right, I will restart and try again, but I can just walk you through the coding just because, whatever. If they don't see the console, so be it. Um, Okay, so for module 2, basically we just need to try changing the parameters and then see some sort of result, which may or may not happen. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, let me just try restarting and see if I can get this thing to work or not. All right, trying this another time. So here's what's happening on this one. Okay, so I ran the console or ran to make sure we were not getting the server errors anymore. Thank goodness. Basically, I just want you to change the parameters. So we see substring 4 and substring 4, comma 8. That's going to produce the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. You'll notice that it starts from quick, so it's skipping all the way over to after the 4th index number, right? What it shows. So again, if we start from the quick, that's 0, 1, or here, let me just type it underneath and we can see it. Tab over, so let me make it a comment. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? Okay, so what's happening here is it's starting from index value 4 and going to the end of it, which I can't highlight. So that's going to be starting from quick, right, which we have here. And then if we go from substring 4 to 8, that's going to go from index value 4, which is starting from Q, and all the way up to 8, which is K. So it's QUIC, and it cuts off at index value 8. If you want to play with this a bit, go ahead. That's really what's happening. They want you to play with this so that you can kind of see what's happening here. Okay, if we keep going along, if it loads, now we got more substrings. Again, they're going to change that substring from here to 30 and see what happens. Okay, so now we're going to go from index number 30 and beyond, and it's going to give me, right, just the lazy dog. Okay, so again, changing the parameter changes what you print. It's looking at where is the 30th index value and then printing what comes after that. Okay. All right, nothing crazy here. So again, just trying to get you familiar with substrings. And then 4 is actually where we get to do some modifying for fun. Okay. Now we're going to change the parameters for instead of 4 and 8, it's going to be 5 and 6. So show one letter if you remember from my slideshow. And what letter will that be? Just the letter U. Okay. Why? Because it happens right here. Right? It's going to include number 5, but stop at number 6 for the elements. So that's just the letter U. All right. When you do the check for understanding, try it on your own. See if you can get it. And then, tell you if it's right or wrong. but pay attention where the substrings are looking. For really the modules are pretty straightforward, I think. So I'll just go with Blogger for now. I can make a part 2 if you guys need it. But again, I'll kind of walk you through this in class as well. So it's kind of my backup if you miss class. Okay, so for Blogger, we basically are trying to figure out like when was this blog posted? So if you just look at this, there's a blog called Exploring the Mysteries of the Universe, right? And it was posted on May 3rd, 2022. Your goal is to just extract that year that it was done. That's it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to blog.java and kind of pay attention to what we have here. We have a class called blog. There's a private instance variable called title, a date, right? We're localizing the variables here. There's a get title, get date, and then finally we need to do get year. Now, at first glance, I'll be honest, I was like, oh, can I not figure out a way to get the number? And then I realized, oh, the year is part of the month, day, and year. That's all locked up as a string. Okay. So something we need to remember is, and you'll see it on the first page, is it is in this MMDDYYY format. It says it right here on the left in the instructions as well, but it's hard to see. Okay. So I know so basically I want to try and get these last 4 numbers, right? And they always come, you'll notice at the end, right? So the second argument comes all the way at the end. The year always is the end. So knowing that, then I know that, well, let's go ahead and write down a random date, right? Or actually, I could just do it right here. Whoops, somehow I deleted the YYY. Okay, so right below, I'm going to go ahead and type in the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? And you'll notice that the value for the year, the first number, comes all the way at index value 6. So 6 and beyond will show that. So in other words, I want to display index number 6 and beyond. Okay, so that means that I'm going to have to go ahead and display some sort of what? It's a string that's going to come as a return, right? And in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and delete a space here. I'm going to go ahead and make a string called year. And let's go ahead and store this substring here. So I'm thinking in my head, let's do substring parentheses 6. It's going to print the index, whatever's at index number 6 and beyond. Okay, but remember, this is a method that I need to call. And in order to call the method, I need some sort of thing attached with it. Well, remember, where is this information being stored? There's a variable called date. That's storing the month, the date, and the year, right? That's the string that we're going to look at. This is the argument right there. We're looking right there, May 3rd, 2022 is the date. So I need to use that to call my string, right? Or my substring. I'm going to do date dot substring. So it's going to look at the 6th element and beyond. And what are we going to return? We're going to go ahead and return the year. Now, some of you might be wondering, can I just return date dot substring 6? The answer is you cannot. You can go ahead and try. I did, and I got an error. So let's go ahead and run it now and just make sure it's error free. And it is. And now I can go back to blog runner and call that year. And we're going to do system.println. And I'm going to do the year the blog was posted is. Let's do a concatenation. And do you see how it's going to be the object is space post? So I'm going to copy and paste that down here, preferably inside the parentheses. And I'm going to go ahead and call that get year method, which requires no arguments. Run it and it should show up. There it is. Go ahead and test it. And then we'd be done. I hope this helps, and I'll look forward to your questions.